One day, all the records of human civilization disappeared without a trace, regardless of whether it's about history, technology, or art, from books to digital data. All the knowledge and records accumulated by the human race disappeared overnight, when, for reasons unknown to anyone, society was thrown into chaos and was on the verge of collapse. Then a savior appeared to humanity. And this is nothing other than the so-called Zeus system. However, by whom and when it was created, it still remains a mystery. And the Zeus system, in turn, created a virtual game Olympus. And Olympus cannot be called a simple game. The system announced that the recognition of the object is a success. Security check, clean. Materialization and transmission begins. Materialization is complete. After all, thanks to the available abilities, the Zeus system is able to materialize objects from the game into reality. And as a result, Olympus becomes a means of maintaining modern civilization. And soon the line between reality and Olympus was blurred. It's been about 200 years since the world became a place where any object of the game can be materialized in reality. And as a result, the modern era has turned into a prosperous civilization. However, a flourishing civilization was not so good. A man in a suit pinned another poor man to the ground, saying that he, a pathetic little rat, was climbing where, after all, a worm must crawl among its own kind. This was the so-called spoon class theory, because of ratings, separation of spheres of influence, as well as the appearance of items. In the game Olympus, there was a polarization of wealth, and the class system, which in fact was not such, once again spread everywhere in society. The rich get richer, and the poor get poorer. A world in which it is impossible to be born a hero in the gutter. A world in which it is difficult for a clay spoon to turn into a golden one. He, Hanju Hyuk, who is himself one of the many clay spoons. But, nevertheless, there is no law that says that a low status must necessarily die. One crazy old man who kidnapped Hanju Hyuk when he was just under 10 years old said that the main character was not born with this damn clay spoon in his mouth, but with a gap in level and abilities. And that's why for the past 20 years, Hanju Hyuk has only been going through hell training in the training area. So Hanju Hyuk said that he should become an absolute evil or something like that. And thus, he, along with the Holy Assassin and the Queen of the Dead, decided to become absolute evil. 20 years ago, after the Olympus Revolution, humanity began to receive education in virtual reality. Students increase their level in the Academy of Olympus, and after graduation they get a job in the Union of Olympus and earn money. Such a similar future was the norm, which is why Hanju Hyuk decided to follow this path. But trouble crept up on him unnoticed. This old man who had been following Hanju Hyuk had finally found him. He still managed to find a gifted child. The old man can't believe that he could find a child with such a talent. Heaven favors him. The old man decided that he would make Hanju Hyuk the strongest person in their world. Hanju Hyuk was kidnapped by a crazy old NPC. But this eccentric old man was the personification of strength. So, even if forced, but to some extent, Hanju Hyuk was not against becoming this old man's disciple. And that's how his difficult one began. No, it would be more accurate to say, a painful period of correction. The time of so-called hellish training. Hanju Hyuk tells the old man that does he know that according to rumors, the best player now has the 89th level. It's cool, isn't it? To which the old man, sitting on the back of his student while he was practicing, replied that how could he, Arthur, call the best one who is below the 99th level. Hanju Hyuk has spent 10 years in grueling training at the moment. The disciple objected to the old man, saying that after all, this person is officially considered number one, and there is no one higher than him. To which the old man, calling Hanju Hyuk a brat, said that he really wanted to say that he did not take his own strong mentor's word for it. The young man should not believe only what he sees. After all, you need to understand that there are many things that are not openly shown in the world. Hanju Hyuk thought that this crazy psychopath had started talking his crazy nonsense again. Meanwhile, the old man kept telling his student Arthur to believe him, because he is the one who will make the hero the strongest person in their world. But Hanju Hyuk interrupted the teacher, saying that he did not come from a wealthy family, and there are no items in the arsenal, unless, in this scenario, it is even possible to become the strongest in this world. Angry, the old man hit Hanju Hyuk on the head with his fist and told him to shut his mitt. After all, only the level and characteristics are important, and so it will not go, and ordered his student to stand in the bar for another 3 hours. And Hanju Hyuk himself wondered if he could really believe this old man. Hanju Hyuk's torment continued from day to day. But nevertheless, time passed without stopping. Spring followed winter, and autumn followed summer, and in an endless series of changing seasons, 20 years flew by, which were filled with hellish training. The old man told Han Ju-hyuk that he had done an excellent job on himself until today. The teacher taught him everything he knew, and now he can die without any regrets. Han Ju-hyuk, sitting on one knee in front of the teacher and having completed a 20-year training course, mentally began to beg that the old man would die as soon as possible. After all, it was really incredibly hard for the guy. In reality, Han Ju-hyuk is treated like an applicant who has not been able to get a job for 1,000 years, and in the Olympus game, he had to devote all his time to endless training. To put it more simply, Han Ju-hyuk was only beaten during these long and painful 20 years. And to be honest, he has no idea why he continued to put up with all this, although he could just take and delete his character. But still, in the end, Han Ju-hyuk was able to withstand this test. The young man told his mentor that in fact he was none other than his son. And since Han Ju-hyuk had this old man as a mentor, whom the hero considered his second father, he managed to work hard during these 20 years. However, Han Ju-hyuk is still not sure that he can survive in such a harsh and cruel world without the protection of his mentor, and therefore still needs his guidance. To which the teacher replied that Han Ju-hyuk was wrong, although he is still weaker than his teacher, but nevertheless, his strength has grown noticeably. Listening to the old man, Han Ju-hyuk kept thinking that the old man would have already decided whether the hero was weak or strong. No, it's not so important to him now, just that the teacher would finally give him a quest. Han Ju-hyuk heard that after the death of NPCs like his teacher, there is a quest. And the young man told the old man that there was no way. And I begged him to continue teaching him further. Can't the old man give Han Ju-hyuk at least one single quest before playing the box? To which the old man replied that he perfectly understood his feelings. But Han Ju-hyuk should never forget that he is his only disciple, the only receiver of his martial art. Han Ju-hyuk thought that because of this fucking succession idea, he was locked up here for 20 years. At that moment, the old man handed the disciple a map with a red cross marked on it and told Han Ju-hyuk to find this place. After all, his future is exactly there. Han Ju-hyuk beamed and thanked his mentor for his generous teachings, which are higher than the sky and deeper than the ocean. When Han Ju-hyuk got up from his knees, his mentor had already expired. Well, rest in peace. The student told his teacher that let's never meet again in the next life. After 20 years, Han Ju-hyuk left his mentor, and his years of hellish training were finally over. The young man approached the special zone of the line teleportation gate. Now, for once, he is standing at the line for a new start. Han Ju-hyuk said that this hellish life was finally over and called the status window. In the past, the hero was almost beaten to death several times after his unsuccessful escape attempts. But just look at the magnificent results of this absurd workout. The status window showed that his name is Arthur. The user is Han Ju-hyuk, level 99, strength 99, agility 99, endurance 99, intelligence 99, luck -99, HP 990/990, MP 990/990. There is no inactive status. While studying the status window, Han Ju-hyuk paid attention to his luck. He wondered why his luck had gone into negative territory. Then the system notified him that the player had been identified. Han Ju-hyuk was very happy about this, saying that finally. The system also informed him that the curse of coercion had been lifted and he was relieved of his duties as a successor. The special barrier has been cancelled, and now Han Ju-hyuk can leave the special zone line. Well, in fact, Han Ju-hyuk has been waiting for this for 20 years. Well, great, now he can say goodbye to line forever. Han Ju-hyuk just wanted to go outside of this zone, as everything around lit up red. And the system issued a warning. The hero did not understand what was happening. The system has detected an error. An abnormal increase in the level was detected. Han Ju-hyuk did not pass the professional development procedure. An abnormal method of raising the level has been detected, and the power of Zeus will reset all the levels obtained by abnormal means. Han Ju-hyuk was very scared, and the system started resetting. The hero started yelling, "What the hell is this? Let the crazy idiot Zeus stop everything." The system notified Han Ju-hyuk that the operation was completed successfully. Excessive stress levels have been detected. Prolonged access can be harmful to health. If the high stress level persists, an automatic logout will be performed. After a while, Han Ju-hyuk somehow came back to normal a little, and called up the status window and said it wasn't a dream. Didn't he dream it? But then he noticed something. It turned out that the characteristics remained the same. Did the system reset only the level? Han Ju-hyuk exhaled. Obviously, there is a penalty depending on the lowering of the level. As a rule, a ban is imposed on the use of some skill. Even the basic of Han Ju-hyuk's skills, the heaven-conquering mind technique, requires at least level 40 to be used. and now Han Ju-hyuk can't use any of his attacking skills, and it is also impossible for him to carry items with a level restriction. Right now, Han Ju-hyuk is literally on the first level. And why the hell did he give up all these restrictions? After all, in other words, the first level is the easiest state to climb up. Han Ju-hyuk can quickly level up and invert into characteristics again, destroying monsters with the characteristics that have been preserved. That is, in fact, its terms are extremely favorable. And now his job seeker's life is finally over. From this day on, life on Olympus is just beginning. First of all, Han Ju-hyuk intends to go to the startup town for beginners. 26-year-old Han Ju-hyuk. Although 6 years later than others, he will still begin from this moment to live, finally, his own real life. Han Ju-hyuk arrived in Urkaz. For 20 years he missed this square, and these street vendors, and this peaceful atmosphere. Han Ju-hyuk is really back, and he immediately decided to go to the hunting grounds. He came to the western gate of Urkaz, but at the entrance he was stopped by a guard, asking what his level was, to which Han Ju-hyuk replied that he was the first. Then the guard said that he had made a mistake at the gate, because he needed to go to the east gate, and here, western. It's dangerous for the first level here. Then the young man asked, what is this forbidden zone? The guard replied that no, but the guard strongly recommends not. After all, he can't even defeat a toothy rabbit with level 1 abilities. Lush, let Han Ju-hyuk come as you train on the east. But the guard did not have time to finish, as the young man rushed forward, saying that, what if he could cope? The guard told him in the back that he hadn't even listened to the end. Is it because players are reborn after death? But it's still reckless. Han Ju-hyuk has opened the quest near a guardian alert activated. Nur, the guardian of the western gates of Urkaz, watches the player with suspicion. Nur assumes that the player will die, so let's dispel Nura's anxiety. The reward for the quest is 30,000 gold. Han Ju-hyuk said that Nur is very worried. Show him the quest he got. Han Ju-hyuk turned to the guard and waved his hand, to which the uncle asked what he was doing. He is also attacked by a toothy rabbit. Terrified, the guard shouted to Han Ju-hyuk to turn around. Then Han Ju-hyuk showed him the class. He defeated the toothy rabbit with one hand. The system said that he defeated the toothy rabbit and got 1 gold and experience. Then Han Ju-hyuk started killing all the toothy rabbits that attacked him. Seeing all this, the guardian was shocked. After the quest, Nur approached Han Ju-hyuk and asked, what did he say? He only has the first level. The young man said that it was so, and he asked that the guards mainly monitor the level. Nur was still confused and said it was hard for him to believe, and what kind of technique it was, to which Han Ju-hyuk replied that it was a secret of the company. Here, behind the young man, there was a thug of the western gate, a rabid boar. Nur told Han Ju-hyuk to step back, to which the young man replied that the guard could not worry. The guard said that this creature is of a completely different level. It's very dangerous. Han Ju-hyuk has to get behind him. He protested, but Nur again did not have time to finish, as the young man had already killed a boar. Han Ju-hyuk has raised his level. The guard was still in shock, thinking that he was definitely a beginner. Probably, Nur is just sleeping. The system said that the quest Naru Guardian Alert is completed and Han Ju-hyuk receives 30,000 gold as a reward. The young man earned 30,000 in just a few strokes, that's fine. But, even if so, will he not be able to invert the characteristics? In this state, well, firstly, in fact, the characteristics remain the same as at level 99. But that's not the main problem right now. Han Ju-hyuk will deal with this later. In the meantime, you need to go to high-level hunting grounds. At that time, the young man thought that the path of his life was completely straight. The reward for 20 years of hard work has finally been received. And it seemed to Han Ju-hyuk that everything would be smooth for him in the future too. But a few days later, the notification list stated that Han Ju-hyuk was involved in the murder, and the house system is activated. The young man will be given the mark of the killer, and this killer tag players can distinguish. Han Ju-hyuk is also given a fine for activating the house system. Over the past few days, the hero has been involved in various incidents and is now full of not understanding. The NPCs attacking him appeared out of nowhere. They mistook Han Ju-hyuk for the criminal they were looking for. Why would he do all this? It wouldn't have happened without a reason. No matter how much Han Ju-hyuk thinks, for sure, the reason is his luck, which is a 99 wound. And under the influence of this luck, the NPCs decided that he was a wanted criminal, and they attacked him endlessly in order to kill him. Han Ju-hyuk was forced to fight not to die. The most inveterate chaosit of all chaosits. If someone commits a crime on Olympus, then there is a house system that will register this someone as a criminal. The system said that killing an NPC, Han Ju-hyuk is now in full HOW mode. With the full Hao regime, the young man received all kinds of fines. The full Hao penalty includes the chance of dropping items increases to 100% after death. The rate of gaining experience is reduced by 90%. It cannot be used by state institutions or public ones, and also the interest of trading NPCs decreases by 100%. And after that, Han Ju-hyuk began to be pursued not only by NPCs, but also by players. There can only be one reason why they are chasing him. The man who was running after Han Ju-hyuk shouted to someone that the support request was a serial killer, a Getrak. According to the hero system, which is the opposite of the Hao system, one can become a hero by killing a Kaesit. And of course, Han Ju-hyuk became the target of full Hao. For players who want to become heroes. Having cornered the young man, the players told him that this was a dead end and let him give up. Giving up would be the easiest thing. But Han Ju-hyuk is not going to give up. He destroyed them all. After all, for the sake of survival, he eventually had nothing left but to kill all users. After that, Han Ju-hyuk decided to lay low for now so that they wouldn't find him. And yet his level is rising. That's how 2 weeks have passed. It seems that normal players are incorrigible. The status window showed that Han Ju-hyuk's current state is still full Hao. He'll have to hide for at least a year to stop this damn full Hao. But in any case, since Han Ju-hyuk has become a bad guy, it means that he will at least become such a bad guy who eats well and lives well. Han Ju-hyuk decided to stop being a hero. Well, he also has the characteristics of level 99, so he doesn't have to worry about eating well and living well. However, if you think about it, this one is very strange. After 20 years of hellish torment, Han Ju-hyuk thought he would get better, but he was forcibly put into full chaos mode. The young man wondered what could be the idea of Zeus. Is there a special scenario? Who is hiding behind this at all? A new pain that came as soon as he got rid of the suffering of the past. Han Ju-hyuk wondered about this whole situation, and the answer to the question came sooner than he expected. The next day, a group of some men came to him and began to bow to him. The chief of them said that to see the successor of the Absolute, they, the old people, don't want anything more, even if they have to die now. Long live the Absolute of the Heavenly Devil. And Han Ju-hyuk got a new quest. Quest Elevation of the Absolute, rating SSS. He must be recognized as the Absolute of the Heavenly Devil, and getting recognition from the 12 Elders is a top priority. Among the quests that humanity has seen playing on Olympus over the past 200 years, this is a top-level quest. In 200 years of history, the SSS class quest has appeared only 3 times. And every time such a quest appeared, a cataclysm occurred on Olympus. SSS level quests, usually this is the main quest according to the scenario, which is carried out at least at the national level. Then, it turns out now Han Ju-hyuk, training, which has been his personal hell for the last 20 years. Full Hao, which Han Ju-hyuk became as soon as he got out of the line. And these NPCs who are lying in front of him, as if they were just waiting. In any case, Zeus has been preparing Han Ju-hyuk for this for 20 years. The young man feels that he is becoming part of a big story, an era of chaos that lasted 7,000 years. The peace treaty concluded after a long war divided the world into 3 powers. Among them, the most famous is the power of Centinea, which had an absolute ruler, and his name is Garcia Mentors. This absolute had 14 wives, and of these 14 wives, the 7th wife gave birth to an Erectus, and an Erectus in some region produced offspring from someone, and he, in turn, gave life to another. And after that, someone was born again. Then another descendant was born. And why is this pedigree so long? Han Ju-hyuk spent more than 10 minutes just reading a genealogical book. Han Ju-hyuk looked at the bowing old men and thought that it would probably be rude of him to skip reading the contents, because they are so sincere, and continued reading. So, a man named Schulter, who is the strongest at that time, seized the hegemony. Schulter inherited the devil's blood and was much more cruel than anyone else. They say that all the heroes of the world were afraid of him. And when the uprising finally broke out, Schulter was defeated, trapped. But he was only crippled and life continued to glow in his body. After that, Schulter settled in the cave and regained his former power. Well, it turns out that Han Ju-hyuk's mentor was a descendant of that Schulter or someone from this family. After all, for 20 years of hellish training, he mastered the martial art of Schulter. Han Ju-hyuk looked at the quest again, which said that the young man is recognized as a temporary absolute. But this is not a perfect recognition yet. 7 of the 12 elders wish for the return of the absolute. However, the other 5 elders do not share this desire with others. Han Ju-hyuk must identify the elders who are loyal to him and be recognized as the true absolute ruler. And there was also a note at the bottom that said that Han Ju-hyuk should keep in mind that he could find himself in a very difficult situation if he was not recognized as the absolute ruler. Seeing this, Han Ju-hyuk wondered if he would get a full confession, but still find himself in a difficult situation. If the matter takes a serious turn, then everything can turn into the removal of the character or, even worse, a ban on connecting to the game. The system highlighted the privileges in which it was said that one, Han Ju-hyuk would take command of the hidden force, the 12 elders of the heavenly kingdom. The young man is already in trouble for the most I don't want, and, it seems, the system decided to finish him off. 2. The right to command the elders of the heavenly devil is temporary and will be withdrawn at the end of the quest. 3. Until the end of the quest, 12 elders will be considered members of the Han Ju-hyuk clan. Followers are like the shadow of a player, and it turns out that regardless of the means and methods, the goal, by all means, must be achieved. And turning to the elders, Han Ju-hyuk said that means they are the elders of the heavenly devil. Strick, continuing to bow, said that this was exactly the case. They are thrilled that Han Ju-hyuk has recognized them. The young man thought that he could not say that he actually recognized them. After all, it had only been a few minutes since Han Ju-hyuk had first heard about the heavenly devil. And Han Ju-hyuk himself said that these were the words of his mentor, that the young man should stand at the head of the elders of the heavenly devil, and restore the former glory of the heavenly devil on this continent. The old man was very touched by this. Well, for starters, these are the 7 people who sympathize with Han Ju-hyuk. The young man ordered to move out on the road, let them lead him, to which the old man replied that they were obeying, and also added that they had cut off the heads of all the insect-like bastards who wandered around. And Han Ju-hyuk himself was wondering why it suddenly became so quiet around. The system said that checking the player's relationship with the elders, and at the moment, the elders were recognized as members of the player's clan. The experience that was earned by the elders in the established region is retroactively applied to the player. The level was raised 3 times. Surprised, Han Ju-hyuk asked if they really wanted to say that he was now level 9. According to the national rule, most people enter the academy at the age of 6-8 years, and they reach level 20 when they graduate at the age of 20. And what if you use this function productively? Han Ju-hyuk asked what the old man's name was, to which the old man replied that he was Luxo, who holds the post of First Elder. But first of all, Han Ju-hyuk needs to clarify something. The young man said that he is currently under special restrictions, although he followed the mentor's mantra. But right now Han Ju-hyuk doesn't have the opportunity to use any of his techniques. His head remembers, but his body can't keep up with the thought. To which Luxo replied that they guessed that something similar had happened to him. Han Ju-hyuk went on to say that nevertheless, let the elders trust him. After all, Han Ju-hyuk is the absolute who will rule them, and he gives his word that he will take the elders to a place where they will always drown in the sun's rays. The elders were very touched by this, and the system notified Han Ju-hyuk that the sympathy of the elders of the heavenly devil had increased. So, now let's visit the nest of elders. After returning from virtual reality, Han Ju-hyuk stood in the kitchen and drank water. Then Han-saya, his younger sister, comes up to him and says that she heard that this time their union won a good quest. But it seems that a serial killer named Getrag is operating in the border area of Centinea. He uses paired pistols. He has about the 40th level. They also say that only a team of 7 people can capture him. If Han-saya succeeds, then she thinks she can easily get a reward of 3 million gold coins from their union. To which Han Ju-hyuk replied that the reward for the head of the Getrag is more than 100 million gold coins. But as a reward, they give only a measly 3 million. The sister said that in the middle unions it is always like this, but nevertheless, their union gives quite a lot when compared with others. And Han Ju-hyuk continued to stand his ground, saying that after all the most difficult work lies with them, and not with office rats. Han-saya replied that one way or another, if she gets encouragement, she will buy meat. After all, they have hardly eaten meat lately, which is probably why Han Ju-hyuk has such pronounced bags under his eyes. But Han Ju-hyuk thinks that the whole point is that his luck has gone into a deep negative. But in any case, thanks to his sister. And now he needs to log in again. He connected to Olympus and Luxo informed him that someone was following the young man. They still can't figure out the identity of the observer. So what should they do? Han Ju-hyuk asked not to do anything yet. And he wrote to Luna, his sister, asking that it wasn't her. But the system said that the moon is on another continent. Players who are on another continent cannot receive his messages. Then, behind Han Ju-hyuk's back, someone said that they had finally found him, a vile faceless killer. Turning around, the young man noticed two paired pistols. This means that in front of him is the same gator from the wanted ad. Getrag told Han Ju-hyuk that how dare a youngster pretend to be him. Apparently he's a very fearless guy, so now Han Ju-hyuk will pay with death for his sin. A worthless bastard. What a blessing that Han Seiya had shared such important information with her brother earlier. Han Ju-hyuk may have high stats, but that bastard, after all, is level 40. What variables will the 30 level difference create, along with the differences in items and equipment? But there's no way Han Ju-hyuk can lose right now, in the most important quest of his life. So, the young man does not have to fight him alone. Han Ju-hyuk called Luxo. The old man bowed to him and said that he had come to his call. And Getrag was at a loss. After all, he couldn't even figure out where this old man had been all this time. Getrag didn't even feel his presence. Meanwhile, Han Ju-hyuk ordered Luxo to kill Getrag. The old man accepted the order and went to execute it. Getrag thought that there was only an old man and a green boy here, and he started firing his twin pistols. Getrag said that apparently they even found time for idle chatter, and if they are so fond of wagging their tongues, then let them try to attack him first. But even before he realized what exactly had happened, Getrag was already defeated by Lux. Seeing this, Han Ju-hyuk was shocked, because he had heard that the Getrag had approximately the 40th level. Is the Getrag too weak? Well, or Luxo is stronger than Han Ju-hyuk assumed. But to be honest, the young man couldn't even really see Luxo's steps. If Han Ju-hyuk could only use the spiritual eye skill, then at least he would be able to read the mana flows. Luxo presented the Lord, that is, Han Ju-hyuk, with the head of his enemy. The system said that experience points were obtained, and she began to check the condition of full how. Han Ju-hyuk killed an NPC with a 30 level gap, and he was at level 10 or even lower. The system has started checking the status of the frozen mind technique conquering the heavens. And then she congratulated Han Ju-hyuk, as he earned points for promotion. Han Ju-hyuk was holding the head of the famous killer Getrag in his hands, and the reward for his head was 100 million gold coins. Is the young man dreaming about it? Han Ju-hyuk praised Luxo's work. Well, let things take their course. Han Ju-hyuk was still able to get a job because he was caught up in the full how regime. But it never occurred to him that an NPC whose head is worth 100 million would be so easily in his hands. Han Ju-hyuk ordered the elders to listen to him, and he told them to hunt all the living things around them, but without making a fuss, for his glorious elevation. Han Ju-hyuk will follow any scenario or quest that the system provides him with, and he will diligently play the role of the new ruler. 2 weeks later, the level has been raised. Han Ju-hyuk is now level 13. Others spend several years on raising the level, and he is already climbing up with unheard of speed. The heaven-conquering mind technique requires at least level 40. When Han Ju-hyuk gets to him, that's when his real start will be. Company, which obtains items using full-scale leveling in Heavenly Devil Lackeys. But that's right, if Han Ju-hyuk can't get a job, then he can just start his own company. But now the problem is how Han Ju-hyuk will get rid of the gator's head. Han Ju-hyuk's room. He asked a question in a search engine that where is the best place to sell expensive items. He went to the forum, where he read the answers of people who said that these items should be sold in the Olympus game. If he decides to sell an expensive thing in the real world, he can be robbed or killed. Another answer was that there was no way to sell in the real world. Han Ju-hyuk is involved in full high mode, which is why he cannot use the services of any official institution in the game. Money is money, but it seems that making a deal in the real world is not an option either. After all, Han Ju-hyuk's personal data can be stolen in this way. Then Han Seiya came into his room and asked what Han Ju-hyuk was doing. The brother replied that she had come just in time. The girl was immediately alarmed, asking if he really needed pocket money. But Han Ju-hyuk assured her that it had nothing to do with it. And I asked her what she would do if she got the head of a gator. To which Seiya replied that even if the head was in his hands, why would he give the head to his sister? After all, he can just sell his head and overeat burgers for his own pleasure. And if Han Ju-hyuk also buys her a couple, it will be just wonderful. Han Ju-hyuk abruptly became serious and said that he would get this damn head and offered his sister to split the proceeds in half. Han Seiya was surprised, thinking that why her brother suddenly spoke in such a serious tone. What kind of incoherent nonsense he was talking about. And she said that Han Ju-hyuk, after all, what is the supposed level of the gator? Even if he dies and rises from the dead, he will not succeed. But after finishing, she began to talk about something else, that she had heard that Han Ju-hyuk could not visit other areas at all because of training or something like that. Han Ju-hyuk replied that he was able to escape a few days ago and, to be honest, he had already caught that bastard. Han Se-ya said no, that character is approximately level 40. How did he manage to catch him? His joke had gone too far. Hesitating, Han Ju-hyuk said that he just gave him a good punch once and he died. And by the way, he's about level 99. Earlier, he sent his sister a screenshot. Did she forget? 10 years ago, Se-ya received a message from her brother in which it was written that Han Ju-hyuk already has level 99. Remembering this, the sister said that, to be honest, at that moment she thought it was Photoshop, because communities often chat about such topics. Han Ju-hyuk said that he understood, but in any case, if she needed a Getrag head, then let her go to the Lepri Mountains in Sintinia. He would take a picture of the coordinates when he connected to the game. Han Se-ya asked why he wanted her to go there. She's only level 25. To which Han Ju-hyuk replied that, to tell the truth, he is chaotic and up to his ears in the full Hao regime. Having connected to the game, Han Se-ya went to the Lepri Mountains. At the entrance, she told the guards that she had an urgent matter in the Leprian Mountains, to which the guard replied that he would die there in the blink of an eye in the clutches of some monster. But the girl assured him that everything was fine. In any case, everyone was coming back to life. In the end, Han Se-ya really came here. The guards, having let her through, said that they had warned her. If she dies, she shouldn't blame them for what happened. The girl took a day off in the morning, so if Han Ju-hyuk lied to her, then she will finish him off with her own hands. 3 hours later, Han Se-ya was walking through the forest and realized that it was too quiet here, even though Han Ju-hyuk said that he had dealt with all the mobs. What is this strange feeling of emptiness, as if not only monsters were destroyed, but also all living things? Then Han Ju-hyuk suddenly appeared and scared Han Se-ya very much. She screamed and said what he was doing scared the hell out of her. He could have hinted at his presence in some way. It's not that she's angry, but Han Ju-hyuk has really scary energy. It looks like he's really mired in full Hao. If it's that serious, but did he manage to kill an NPC? Han Ju-hyuk said that one way or another he hid the bag with the head of the gator to his sister. Han Se-ya couldn't believe her eyes, saying that 100 million. It's really 100 million. It turns out Han Ju-hyuk wasn't playing her. It's crazy. Everything turned out to be true. Han Ju-hyuk said that if Han Se-ya understood everything, then let him do the exchange as soon as possible. The sister was still very impressed and asked how Han Ju-hyuk managed to do it. She still can't believe what happened. To which Han Ju-hyuk replied briefly that she should already go to the exchange office. When the girl gave the head for exchange, later a man came out to her and said that they had confirmed that it was indeed the head of the wanted criminal Getrag. The quest to kill the Getrag was completed. Han Se is given a reward of 100 million gold coins. The girl said that if she gets half, she can buy herself all kinds of her favorite burger. But her brother suffered so much. Returning to him, Han Se handed Han Ju-hyuk his share. My brother was very surprised, because she brought him 99 million gold coins. But they agreed to divide equally. To which his sister replied that this was his first earned money after those 20 years of torment. How could she squeeze half of it from him? But since Han Ju-hyuk earned as much as 100 million, his sister pocketed 1 million for pocket expenses. The girl ran to work, as she took the morning off, so she should be back already. She's going to buy hamburgers today, so she wants to eat them with mom and dad tonight. At parting, Han Ju-hyuk told his sister to take care of herself, taking into account the exchange fee and tax deduction. This is about 80 million won. Han Ju-hyuk earned 80 lakhs in one day. As expected, this is the quest of his life. Well, what difference does it make that he's chaotic? The SSS-rated quest hadn't even really started yet, and Han Ju-hyuk already had 80 million won in his pocket. If the main quest is completed, then he can't even imagine what kind of reward awaits him. He needs to reach level 40 as soon as possible and continue the quest. To do this, Han Ju-hyuk will try to accelerate his growth at least for a minute, no, even for a second. Investing in the future. The answer, of course, is cash. The same evening, Han Ju-hyuk asked his sister to buy him items for him, to which Han Se-ya replied that she had just returned from work. Han Ju-hyuk said that if his business goes uphill, he will give her 300,000 won for pocket expenses every month. The sister agreed. She climbed back into the machine to teleport into the game. A few hours later, Han Se-ya has already gone and bought everything Han Ju-hyuk asked for. All the items he acquired with the help of Se-ya are artifacts that enhance the experience. A ring of small stature is 2 pieces, a training necklace, a bracelet for someone who grows 2 pieces, a belt for someone who grows 2 pieces, an earring that seeks to increase experience is also 2 pieces, for a total of 70 million won. This is his first money earned with his own hands in his entire life. His sister called out to him and said that she didn't know why he asked her to buy it all, but the next time he asked her to do her small errands again, then let him put a teleportation point. Han Ju-hyuk replied that it was fine and asked how much it cost, to which Han Sayer replied that the installation of the first teleportation point is 3 million gold coins. After that, he will withdraw 300,000 gold coins every time Han Ju-hyuk uses it. Money flows like sand through your fingers. And my sister also recommended hiding all his accessories using the invisible mode, otherwise it looks terrible. The system reported that the user Luna disconnected from the system. Han Ju-hyuk told himself that he needed to earn even more from now on and turned on the invisible mode. But first he needs to finish what he started, and he ordered the elders to move out on the road. The next day, Han Ju-hyuk came to the Jeff Mountains, and someone was watching him. The man who was watching Han Ju-hyuk asked, "What kind of guy is there? He's chaotic." The other guy told his boss it was perfect. He just needs to improve his reputation. By the way, does he look weak? And his subjects are all basic. Most likely, he died many times on the way here. The boss said he didn't know about it, but one thing is for sure, he couldn't even find them. His field of view has an extremely small coverage, so most likely he is a beginner, and he ordered everyone to get ready for battle. Walking through the forest, Han Ju-hyuk doesn't notice any mobs, and then the system made a warning, writing that external forces were going to take over his body. Not far from Han Ju-hyuk, there was a group of people, one of whom was conjuring, but he resisted the binding spell. Looks like he's from the Reaper group. However, all his items are mediocre. It looks like he has already died many times and lost all his artifacts. The archer said that he only needed to kill one full how to rise to the League of Heroes. The boss said stop talking, just grab this guy and finish. Captain Yu distracts so that he cannot use teleportation or jump. He and Deputy Kim approach and attack, and everyone rushed to attack Han Ju-hyuk, to which the young man said that they could survive if only they returned right away. To which their boss said it was nonsense. Enough bluffing, damn chaos. Han Ju-hyuk asked what their level was, but all the attacks that this group inflicted did not touch Han Ju-hyuk in any way. The archer was ready to shoot and noticed that the experience was not decreasing. Han Ju-hyuk said that the great sword is level 40, the equipment will pull at about 20. The archer thought that obviously the armor didn't fit. He hadn't even seen Han Ju-hyuk doing magic. Did he prepare the spell in advance? The archer shouted to the boss that it looked like the young man had prepared for PvP in advance. And I came here on purpose. Looking at them, Han Ju-hyuk became sad and decided that, roughly speaking, it was nothing special. You have to attack yourself. For now, Han Ju-hyuk can't use his skills, but will try out his fists. The archer again shouted to his boss to be careful, because the enemy is preparing a magic trick. It can be strong magic, so you need to retreat until he shoots anti-magic himself. Meanwhile, Han Ju-hyuk had already hit their boss. The system said that the status of full how is preserved. The aura of the killer becomes darker, the sin is aggravated. The man in armor rushed at Han Ju-hyuk, but the young man also overcame him. The system repeated again that the status of full how is preserved. The aura of the killer is getting darker, the sin is getting worse. Han Ju-hyuk said it was all just a stupidly distracting tank. The archer asked the question, "What, is there a case for support?" To which the man in armor replied to the guys that just run. It's not something they can handle. The boss also picked him up and said that escape responsibility is off. The archer shouted to the support team to get everyone out of here quickly. They underestimated the enemy. It's not just a magician. The archer had already rushed to the leak, but Han Ju-hyuk caught up with him with lightning speed, telling the archer that he was so confident when he jumped, and now he is running away. The archer was very scared, thinking that it was a leap. That damn kid was playing with them to use the jump, and this can only be done by one person, a high-class melee player above level 60, and that player is Hunter Rufendal. After defeating everyone, Han Ju-hyuk reached level 16. The system said he showed a strong image of a man who does not forgive those who have tarnished his honor. Clan loyalty is strengthened. The minimum requirements are confirmed. The disabled charisma characteristic is now activated. Now Han Ju-hyuk's charisma is 10, to which Han Ju-hyuk said that he doesn't know what it is, but it's very nice. Luxo showed up and said he wanted to show him something, and asked Han Ju-hyuk to follow him. The lair of the heavenly devil, 7 days of hiking. Han Ju-hyuk is already very tired, his legs can't walk anymore. Why is this village so far away? Suddenly Luxo asked to follow him, and the young man followed. Why, it was impossible to open a portal in the middle of the desert. They are not Colombians in such an adventure. It's good that Han Ju-hyuk has an acceleration point during the hike. But after that, they just stomped for a whole week. No animals, no monsters, nothing at all. For a whole week, Han Ju-hyuk just drank water. Fortunately, its characteristics are 99, and it's still at the limit. Luxo then said, calling Han Ju-hyuk the Lord, that their village was ahead. Han Ju-hyuk was very happy. They've finally arrived. He's about to eat. Here it is, a village. Seeing the semi-deserted and destroyed village, Han Ju-hyuk asked Luxo that it was definitely here. To which the elder said that yes, it is here. Han Ju-hyuk felt a little awkward. It's like the mentors fucked up. Then the remaining residents came out to meet them. Exclamations were heard that their absolute had returned. Their savior had come. This is definitely an absolute. Let's bow to the absolute. The system said that the small quest restore the destroyed village was activated. Han Ju-hyuk thought that he should restore his body first. The prophet Karls, who is 163 years old, also came out to them and said that they had arrived. The highly esteemed. Later, Han Ju-hyuk went to Karl's hut. Han Ju-hyuk decided to clarify that a long time ago he raised 12 elders in this area in order to hide from the eyes of the empire. These 12 elders traveled all over the world in search of the descendants of the Absolute. This area is an environment in which there are no monsters or animals. It is a harsh territory where it is difficult to engage in agriculture, and all this time people here have been hiding in poverty, endlessly waiting for his arrival. The prophet Karl said that it was true. Han Ju-hyuk asked if it was really impossible to bring supplies from outside. The old man said that it was impossible. All the residents were imprisoned here, including the elders. Nothing can be brought into this area from the outside. And in the end, the first thing Han Ju-hyuk will have to do is feed the people. Han Ju-hyuk called Luxo and asked that how long can people here live without him. Luxo replied that the biggest is before the full moon. Han Ju-hyuk got up and went to the mountain and shouted for everyone to start listening to him. The young man said that he knew how hungry and sad they were. He was so absorbed in training that he could not take care of them. But now everything is different. Han Ju-hyuk swears to give up his last shirt for them. There is enough time until the full moon, and he asked people to wait a little longer. The system told Han Ju-hyuk that the favorability of the Heavenly Devil Village NPC was increasing. Loyalty increases. The young man told Luxo to follow him. Together they will be faster, and let the other elders stay here. After leaving the village, Han Ju-hyuk said that time was running out. When they go outside, they have to clean up all the monsters during the campaign, and if mana stones or items appear, then carry everything to Han Ju-hyuk. Luxo accepted the order. Han Ju-hyuk can easily cope with this quest if he tries a little. A week after the departure of Han Ju-hyuk and Luxo, they came to the Leprian Mountains. Luxo admired the fact that his master really cooked everything in an hour. Han Ju-hyuk said that of course, in order to get back faster, he prepared something that could be quickly assembled. But they would still start small. Han Ju-hyuk found a magic bag, the contents of which are unknown to the system. A few days ago, Han Se received a message from his brother who said he had a request. The sister asked what kind of request. Han Ju-hyuk asked his sister to bring a magic bag and 800 cans of porridge, and let him come to the Leprian Mountains, as he did that time. With Seiya's help, Han Ju-hyuk prepared the meal in advance. When she came to her brother, Seiya asked why he needed such a thing. Han Ju-hyuk said he would pay for everything and handed over the bag. Taking the bag, the girl opened it and was surprised, saying that it was a blue stone. Did her brother have a sponsor? Where did he get such a precious thing? To which Han Ju-hyuk replied that what other sponsor? If Han Seiya sells this blue stone, he will be able to take 10% for himself. Seiya was shocked and said that apparently her brother had become very lucky. After that, Han Ju-hyuk shouted to his sister to buy him 3 more teleports. Luxo obtained this blue stone while hunting. If Han Ju-hyuk buys a teleport and assigns a teleport point, then he will be able to drastically reduce the time that would take more than a week than they walked. It's perfect. 3 teleports is expensive, of course, but this one is worth it. 12 Elder Edar, who stayed in the village, telling himself that Han Ju-hyuk left the village of the Heavenly Devil, while leaving the borders without attention. Since he called himself the successor, then let him be as he should be. Elder Luxo may follow Han Ju-hyuk to his heart's content, but not all elders are of the same opinion. If the Heavenly Devil does any harm or lies, he must. But before he could finish, he heard the conversations of the villagers outside. They said that the Absolute had returned, and even with such a huge pile of everything. Coming out of the tent, Edar said what was there. Then I saw a sea of food on the street, and a satisfied Absolute. Han Ju-hyuk said that he would like to give them milk and honey, but if you give the residents fatty food immediately to those who have been starving for a long time, you can get sick. Therefore, they should trust him. Edar was taken aback by this, wondering where so much food came from. and the residents were very happy and could not believe their ears or eyes, and they began to bow to Han Ju-hyuk, and the system notified him that the closeness with the residents was increasing. Loyalty takes deep roots. Han Ju-hyuk asked one of the elders to share the porridge with Luxo. Both food, housing, and clothing require improvements, but for now Han Ju-hyuk will have to work hard to deliver food. And then someone asked him for permission to come in. It was the 12th elder. He asked Han Ju-hyuk to spare him for his disloyalty. The system congratulated the young man on receiving the recognition of the 12th elder Edar. Han Ju-hyuk thought he was an easy type, and Edar continued to plead with the Lord, saying that he dared to doubt his master, but Han Ju-hyuk is their true leader. But Han Ju-hyuk thought of it as a long-term project. But one person has already changed his mind. It's just wonderful. Han Ju-hyuk sat down next to Edar and took him by the shoulders, saying that he still lacks a lot. Han Ju-hyuk's capabilities are very limited. The young man understands that the 12th elder does not believe him, because he would have done the same in his place. But the elder said that he would believe him, so Han Ju-hyuk will repay his trust. Edar already let out a tear and again asked for forgiveness from the Lord for his disloyalty. The system said that the 12th elder Edar is recognized as an ideal follower. As long as trust is not violated, the relationship of the master and the servant is preserved. Holding Edar by the shoulders, Han Ju-hyuk thought that the elder was a poor bastard, but the young man was already level 19. And he was getting promotion points. Now it would be nice to test the characteristics and go to the very place. Luxo said that if he moved on, he would arouse the suspicions of the Empire. It's the same with other elders. Therefore, Han Ju-hyuk would rather take Edar. He also has good stealth skills. The Leprian Mountains. Han Ju-hyuk sees a bear here for the first time. It's a giant bear. Edar asked the Lord that he should kill him, to which Han Ju-hyuk replied that no, he would try to kill him himself. The giant bear has about level 40, a big monster that is usually caught by a group of 5 or 6 people. Han Ju-hyuk remembers the last time he hosted a combat party alone. But now there is only one bear. The giant bear pounced on the young man, but he jumped back and struck back, thereby killing him. The system said that the hunt for this giant bear is over, and Han Ju-hyuk gets 20,000. Additional experience can be gained by adding items of equipment that Han Ju-hyuk wears. Edar supported his master, and Han Ju-hyuk was upset, because he thought that at least to fight, why is this bear so weak? Are these monsters so weak or is he strong? But in any case, one thing is for sure. Han Ju-hyuk ordered Edar to move out, because with this you can go to the Amantium dungeon. To which Edar said that he obeys and obeys. A few days later, they reached the entrance to the Amantium dungeon. Edar said there are a lot of footprints in the dungeon. Han Ju-hyuk said that of course, Amantium dungeon is a dungeon for beginners, which is located next to Urka's, that is, the initial city. And since you can get promotion points here for passing a level of appropriate difficulty, this place is teeming with academy students and instructors who belong to a large union. Han Ju-hyuk took down a giant bear with one blow, so how good are the instructors of the big union? And he ordered Edar to follow him unnoticed for the time being. Edar accepted his master's order. The safe zone of the dungeon. 2 students are talking. One says it's the second time he's been here, but he's still freaking out. The other one says that too. He would like to completely clean up the pods this time. But he did not have time to finish, as everyone started up, because Han Ju-hyuk came in, and he is chaotic. The student immediately decided to inform his instructor about this. The instructor came and said that and what kind of bastard they had completely lost fear there. While Han Ju-hyuk was hunting monsters during his journey, he came to the conclusion that when he kills monsters with his own hands, the items do not fall out. He called up the status window and realized that it was all because of his luck, and because of it, the probability of dropping items decreases. The consequences of the luck that left him are too great. It would be nice if you just let the elders deal the last blow, but Han Ju-hyuk kills all opponents with one blow. Han Ju-hyuk was then hailed by the instructor, asking what he was up to. The young man remembered the words of his sister, who said that all instructors are in large unions, and their level has exceeded 40, so Han Ju-hyuk has to be careful. But Han Ju-hyuk did not expect that they wanted to get into an argument from the doorstep. The man said he was asking for the last time what was on his mind. He had seen bastards like Han Ju-hyuk many times, and if he leaves the dungeon right now, the man will save his life. And he decided to see what level he has, and saw that Han Ju-hyuk has level 19 and no items at all, which means that he is trash who can't even use stealth. The man is sure that Han Ju-hyuk just decided to start hunting students and collect the items they drop, and then resell them. And among other things, he seems to have the rank of full Hao. If a man catches him, he can get the title of hero. The man said that Han Ju-hyuk is a pathetic nobody who has no abilities, and he decided to target students. But Han Ju-hyuk didn't understand what he was talking about. And I decided that since there are students here, we will just part amicably. And Han Ju-hyuk said that they should not pay attention to him. Just let them go about their business, and he, in turn, will start his own. After all, Han Ju-hyuk only came to clean up the dungeon. And that's it. To which the man replied that did he really think that the instructor would believe at least one word of such garbage as him? After all, the instructor already knows what Han Ju-hyuk is up to. The system said that the safe zone of the Adamantium dungeon will be removed soon. And the countdown began. The man told his students not to worry about anything. They just have to stand behind him. One of the students said that this is what should be expected from an instructor who is in the Sacred Alliance. Han Ju-hyuk said that if the instructor does not touch him, then he will not cause damage. The young man clearly said that he just needed to clean up the dungeon. And he himself thought that it seemed that today he would be able to find out what the skills of a member of the Sacred Alliance were. The instructor said that the loser in life decided to roll down to a bluff, to which Han Ju-hyuk said that he wasn't going to deal with students like some loser at all, since his goal was only to clear the dungeon. The system said that the Adamantium safe zone was deactivated due to the appearance of the player in full Hao mode. The man rushed at Han Ju-hyuk, saying that the young man was an insignificant joke, and now all his bluff will be dispelled. Han Ju-hyuk said he was warning for the last time. Don't touch him, then he won't touch them either. But the instructor failed to attack Han Ju-hyuk. There was a barrier around him, and he said that it looks like the young man has at least one strange technique. Angered, Han Ju-hyuk asked, what is his whole strength? The man thought what a bastard he was. He doesn't look like an ordinary experienced beginner. There's something in him. And I asked for support because it's chaotic here. Although the level is low, but he owns some strange technique. A very dangerous shot. To which Han Ju-hyuk said that he had warned. After all, I just came to clean up the dungeon. He said not to get involved with him, and even gave a final warning. And Han Ju-hyuk hit the instructor with his fist. The man barely holds on, telling himself that this guy broke his sword to pieces with his bare hands. This is an emergency situation and requested urgent support. But before he could, Instructor Ruth was killed. The students started talking, asking what they should do, because their instructor was killed. And it seems that several students were also swept away by the shock wave. And chaos is coming at them. What should they do? Then Han Ju-hyuk sternly asked the students of the academy that they were also going to fight with him. Everyone shook their heads negatively in unison. And the young man said that this was a wise decision. And I wished them goodbye, that they diligently completed quests and became outstanding people. The students were scared. One of them asked if Kaesit had really left. Another said to contact other instructors as soon as possible. After a while, Han Ju-hyuk walked through the dungeon and said that even if he was chaotic, he had no intention of killing students. Now he has some kind of unpleasant residue on his soul. But it seems he is already in place. This is the very defensive fortress that is located in the center of the dungeon, and there are skeleton soldiers in front of it. And first Han Ju-hyuk has to deal with them in order to destroy the last base. And since he won't get any items for killing monsters anyway, then let's just quickly destroy this fortress. The system said that the defensive fortress is attacking the player. The monsters are furious. It is recommended to get out of the attack zone of the fortress and form a team. Han Ju-hyuk said that he thinks that 10 blows will be enough for him to break this machine. But he destroyed it with one blow. Han Ju-hyuk said it couldn't be. Is this really a defensive fortress? Well, okay, he needs to be happy that everything is going smoothly. So let's clean up this dungeon as soon as possible. A little bit later, a group of people came here and talked to each other. The man said that the defensive fortress had already been destroyed. The young man picked him up and said that didn't the report say that the Kaesit only had level 19? They don't understand a damn thing how Han Ju-hyuk alone was able to destroy this fortress so quickly, and even without touching the skeleton monster. Maybe he's using some special item. The system sent a notification congratulating everyone, since the Adamantium dungeon is completely cleared. The whole team said with one voice that it made no sense. Han Ju-hyuk wondered why there were so many skeleton soldiers. For a real level 19, it would be difficult to clean up, and yet he reached the final base of the dungeon. Then where is the name of this database? Han Ju-hyuk needs to find him. But the shield won't explode with a single blow, right? And hitting the shield, Han Ju-hyuk was disappointed because the shield of the last base was destroyed. And why is he so weak? But Hanju Hyuk needs to hurry up, as he will be chased by other instructors. We must hurry. The system congratulated Hanju Hyuk on the fact that the Amantium dungeon was cleared, and as a reward for completing this dungeon, he is given promotion points. Well, that's why it's a low-level dungeon. Everything falls down in it with one blow. The system suggested using boost points, and Hanju Hyuk agreed. The system used one boost point, and the master reached level 20. And now Hanju Hyuk will be able to go to the Desert of Darkness. However, it seemed to him that he was being chased. So where are these instructors? Maybe they are waiting for Hanju Hyuk at the entrance to the dungeon. Well, okay, you just need to figure out how many of them there are. From 1 to 5 people can gather together, and it would be good for Hanju Hyuk if they were level 50 players. The Lord came to the entrance to this dungeon and said that there were more of them than he expected. One of the instructors shouted for everyone to listen to the enemy leader. Hanju Hyuk was surprised and started looking around, asking if there was really someone else here besides him. And turning to Edar, he asked that maybe he had rolled up the disguise, to which the 12th elder replied that no. The instructor thought that in the event of a battle, Hanju Hyuk's forces would attack the students first and said that he perfectly understood what the Lord was striving for. And the instructor hopes that there will be no senseless battles here. Hanju Hyuk was unhappy with this as he just wanted to try the round. Just let them go. Well, if they fight here, then one of the students will die again. And catching helpless students, it sucks. The instructor told him to have Hanju Hyuk let the students go. After all, the Lord himself does not want to die a senseless death. Then Hanju Hyuk said he understood. So they're not going to fight. After all, he was the first to ask to leave him, and the Lord moved to the exit, because now it is a priority for him to go to the Desert of Darkness, and PvP can be done later. Instructor Jurgel exhaled. The man who was standing next to her thanked her for the fact that everything went without losses, to which Jurgel said that she was not grateful. But we must not forget that when this guy entered the dungeon, Instructor Ruth and the innocent students died. This is a very thoughtful move, and judging by the quick sweep, it seems very likely that some forces will help this type. And he knows they need to protect a bunch of students. That's why we need to persuade him to go back. His powers must have been hiding somewhere. If there was a battle, they would target the students first. The man asked what and who is he anyway. Ms. Jurgel replied that she did not know herself. But judging by his dark aura, it's definitely Full Hao. Most likely Rufendel. The man asked if Rufendel wasn't level 50, to which the woman replied that he may have used cheats to distort his level. This Rufendel has killed many in the past, and now he also decided to deal with someone. Someone tells him that Rufendel should be careful, because Li Yang is also watching him. That dirty bastard is bound to get killed someday. Rufendel only laughed at all this and said that if they recognized him, then let them log out of the system quickly, and he himself would find a good use for the objects that had fallen from them. This Rufendel is also considered a Full Hao. After dealing with all the people, Rufendel thought, what kind of enemy is this Li Yang who is watching him? There are many comments where it is said that he was seen in a variety of places at the same time. What kind of Kaesit who pretends to be Rufendel? He had heard that this Kaesit had recently checked into the Amantium dungeon. If there is a mistake with this, then the Big Alliance seems to be chasing Rufendel. The Big Union is a way of life, and this means that before he gets bothered, Rufendel better deal with this chaos. The village of the Heavenly Devil. Hanju Hyuk said that this time it's worth going to a place where monsters are piling up in tangible numbers. Are there elders who specialize in extensive magic? Luxo said he might be able to do it over there. This elder said that he is the best versed in extensive magic, to which Hanju Hyuk replied that this time he was his companion. Then Hanju Hyuk remembered that Seiya's birthday was coming soon, and I decided that this time I should play the role of an older brother well. You need to work hard to buy a gift for your sister, and then an apartment. They were poisoned in the Desert of Darkness. The system said that a monster would appear in 10 minutes. Hanju Hyuk said it's very slow, and I asked the 6th elder if she was ready. The elder said yes, she was ready. Zeta will break all the bones and tear all the flesh to obey the order of the master, and will do it again and again. 6. The elder will turn all the trash into hell on Hanju Hyuk's way. She amputates all their limbs. Hanju Hyuk was already pissing. They destroy all players who dare to attack them. A group of players noticed Hanju Hyuk, and the man said that yes, they would become famous. The woman picked him up and said it was very lucky. Hanju Hyuk told Zeta that before the arrival of high-level reinforcements, it was necessary to destroy all the monsters and capture the blue stone. The group decided to grab Hanju Hyuk before the others arrived, and everyone rushed to attack the Lord. And Hanju Hyuk said it was some kind of leisurely escape via teleport. and turning to the sixth elder, he said that he took her with him because she is good at extensive magic. So let it show now. Zeta gladly accepted the order and said that she would not keep her master waiting. The future of the Lord will flourish, and called for the coming of the god of evil, and ordered him to beat and kill everyone who stands in the way of Han Ju Hyuk. And the monster rushed to eliminate everyone. Han Ju Hyuk said it was a rosary, and he wants to use his skills too. But then a message came from the system, which said that the aura of the killer was getting stronger. Sin is getting worse. Fame is spreading across the continent. The Death Star has risen. The ascension of the Death Star occurs at the moment when the player of the Full How mode raises notoriety to a certain level and above. During conflicts, the title hero weakens the attacking and defensive capabilities of players with the Death Star status. In addition, a player who is marked with a Death Star becomes less resistant to divine type skills. The resurrection time increases to 240 hours after death, and all sorts of penalties are also applied with a 100% chance of dropping items. However, for Han Ju Hyuk, the leader of the Heavenly Devils, is it normal that he continues to grow in this direction? The system said that charisma is increasing. The loyalty of the Heavenly Devils increases. The man said to Han Ju Hyuk that he was looking down on them. At least Vladika knows who he is. Han Ju Hyuk said he would check the notifications later. First of all, we need to clean up here. The players began to urgently request support, and also began to threaten Han Ju Hyuk, saying that the head of the Sacred Alliance was their friend. Han Ju Hyuk said that he thinks they have more or less put things in order here. Zenta said that the Lord was right. Then the system notified Han Ju Hyuk that the bulls had appeared and asked the sixth elder if she would be able to deal with them. To which Zenta replied that she would skin them alive. Well, that's great. And the two of them rushed into battle. Han Ju Hyuk rushed the bull and begged him not to die with one blow. But it didn't happen. The system said that the bull is defeated and Han Ju Hyuk earns 18,000 gold coins. Although Han Ju Hyuk foresaw something like this, well, nothing can be done. At the very least, Zenta certainly will have something, and Han Ju Hyuk at least gets coins. In this scenario, the bishop decided to earn some money. Two people were watching them from behind the bushes. The man said he had never seen such crazy players, and the young man asked, "What are these automatic attacks?" To which the man replied that he doubted. The one with the sword is not particularly important, but the other opponent is clearly a melee mage, and judging by the damage done, he clearly specializes in attacks. The young man asked that when they had previously made an attack with the whole group, they could not even budge. Then the man concluded that this means that Han Ju Hyuk has at least level 50. Meanwhile, the sixth elder continued to wet all the bulls. Han Ju Hyuk was shocked, saying it was professional. The system said that the master's level has been raised. Han Ju Hyuk asked Zeta to collect the blue stones in time for the cooldown of the skill. Zeta said it would be done. Now the current number of stones is 7 pieces, the speed that ordinary players did not even dream of. The elder was very pleased. Then the system said that a monster boss was being summoned. Han Ju Hyuk said that now was the time to get up, but when he heard the system's words, he slowed down. The men in the bushes were shocked, saying that it was clearly the Bull King. The Black Bull King. Han Ju Hyuk said it was the first time he had seen such a creature. And I asked Zeta to clean up the small trash and grab the items that would fall out. The Lord's level has been raised again. And he said that he thought this Bull King would be stronger than ordinary bulls. And since we are talking about the boss of the territory, then at least one pack that contains 20 blue stones should fall out of it. So he begs this bull to stay on his feet after one hit by Han Ju Hyuk, and then he'll let Zeta finish him off. Then the sixth elder interrupted him, saying that someone with great power was approaching. Han Ju Hyuk said he was just about to catch that thing. But when he saw the army, Vladika said that it was not surprising, because they had to come sooner or later. Han Ju Hyuk will only add to his troubles if he meets them in battle right here, and decided to get off with Zeta. After all, he is weak now, so he will have to endure such humiliation. But one day Han Ju Hyuk will return the former glory of the Heavenly Devil. His pack with blue stones was crying, and his current successes are level +2 and blue stones +11 pieces. Sitting in his room at the computer, Han Ju Hyuk was now convinced for sure. No matter how much you look, there is not a single announcement about something like a new monster patch. The Black Bull King is a monster that has never been mentioned before. Maybe it was not without the influence of his luck, which is 99. Is this a good sign or a bad one? If the Black Bull King had been able to withstand Han Ju Hyuk's punch, then he would have already had a pack of blue stones in his pocket. But then Vladika came across one discussion, which was called, "Is the complexity of hunting grounds increased without prior notice?" Opening this discussion, Han Ju Hyuk read that today someone went to the Amantium dungeon, but the difficulty is insanely high. Black skeleton soldiers suddenly jumped out, but it seems that even a group of level 19 players can't handle them. Then what about the students? Another discussion was that suddenly a black giant bear appeared among the habitat of a giant bear. Is anyone aware of the criteria for change? After reading all this, Han Ju-hyuk wondered if these were not the places he had been to lately. Did all this happen because of him? Then a new message appeared, in which it was written that did anyone see a black monster in the desert of darkness today? This seems to be said about Han Ju-hyuk. After all, today Kaesit single-handedly destroyed all the bull monsters and retreated at the sight of the Black Bull King. Later, the advanced players who arrived to catch the Kaesit filled up the Black Bull, and 3 packs of blue stones fell out of it, each of which had 30 pieces. It's a tolerable piece of luck, isn't it? Han Ju-hyuk was shocked. Cursing his luck, he said that 90 pieces of blue stones is almost 450 million gold coins. There were 450 pieces right in front of his nose. Is 450 million. From the 11 blue stones extracted today, Han Ju-hyuk has gained 50,500,000 gold coins. And the cost of food for 3 days for the Heavenly Devil Village is approximately 36 million gold. And besides, there is a commission for money exchange, taxes, and so on. This time, Han Seiya again provided assistance. Ultimately, Han Ju-hyuk only has 15 million won. With this amount, it will not be difficult to buy a birthday gift for your sister or to provide yourself with food. But, to be honest, with such a meager balance, Han Ju-hyuk thinks that he will never buy a house or a car. Since his actual level is low, there are many areas that Han Ju-hyuk can't visit, and skills are blocked too. And besides, he has a lot of fines. In this scenario, Han Ju-hyuk can only raise his level. Meanwhile, some 2 adult men are talking. The man reports to his boss that in this way, the complexity has increased significantly. After that, the report is over. The boss asked his subordinate, "What is the Black Bull?" To which the man replied that it was so. It was a monster whose overall stats had increased significantly. The director of the E&S Alliance, Young Wook Hyun, after reviewing the papers, said that he really does not look like an average static monster. Let everyone continue to hunt the same way as before. And if necessary, you can increase the number of people. They have a lot of regular players who can be easily replaced. The subordinate said that everything would be done. But Director Young Wook Hyun added something else, saying that the chaos that raged today in the Desert of Darkness has greatly harmed the members of their big union. You need to make sure that it is really Rufendel and try to collect as much information about him as possible. They have to show him what will happen to him if he acts alone. 3 weeks later, the system told Han Ju-hyuk again that his level had been raised. Now, Han Ju-hyuk currently has level 29. Luxo told his lord sympathetically that it was because of a 3-week forced march that he could not defeat the Black Bull King. Luxo is worried that Han Ju-hyuk's jade body might get hurt. Han Ju-hyuk thanked the elder for his concern, saying that, however, he was fine, let Luxo not worry so much. After all, despite the fact that his body has many limitations, Han Ju-hyuk cannot show his weak side, because he wants to reveal to them, his friends, the beauty of the world, in order to bring the day when everyone in the world will kneel before the Heavenly Devil as soon as possible. Han Ju-hyuk cannot afford a single minute of rest, so he will continue to run diligently, with his eyes fixed forward, so let the elder drop his worries and give his lord support. Luxo was very touched by this and said that he would serve Han Ju-hyuk until he breathed his last. Han Ju-hyuk thought that was right, let Elder Luxo do that. All this is for the sake of the future apartment of the Lord and for the sake of the future imported car. And, of course, for the sake of the ultimate goal, the owner of the building. The system sent a notification. Han Ju-hyuk received a message from his sister. She wrote that he had also received a new quest. Right now, quests are being issued all over the game world. She's already got hers. This is the quest of the 7 Holy Thrones.